apartment complex. Rush-hour crowds spilled in and out of the interurban station, and he stumbled into the flow, ducking his head low as he pushed against the tide. The sound of pounding boots vanished, and if anyone was shouting his name, it was drowned by the video billboards booming out trailers for the movies upstairs. For a moment, he felt as anonymous as everyone else, and he thought maybe he'd managed to get away. Pushing past the commuter crowd into the complex, he hurried toward the drugstore at the opposite end. He could already see the line for the cashiers was at least 10 deep, and though he'd never stolen a thing in his life, today he was willing. All it would take was a lighter. Whether his hands would stop shaking long enough for him to pull the brains out of his phone, however, he wasn't sure. A siren whoop came from the entrance behind him, startling him. He looked back the way he'd come, seeing several figures in dark blue shouldering through the crowd. Another siren sounded, this time from the direction of the drugstore. He'd known there would be trouble if he published. Everyone, including his source, had convinced him of this. He'd heard of the harassment of journalists, the blacklisting, the tens of thousands spent battling groundless libel charges in court. But a raid on his home? Police? Arrest? He'd told himself he was ready, and he'd thought it was true. But standing there, paralyzed, he realized there was no cautionary tale that could have prepared him for this. He was about to become the cautionary tale. In the midst of his panic, it took him slightly too long to realize the woman draped in flowing floral print was speaking into her sleeve. With her eyes concealed behind owlish sunglasses and most of her face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat, he didn't immediately realize she was watching him. It wasn't until she was within earshot that he realized he should be afraid of her. Speaking quietly into her sleeve, her lips took unmistakable shape around terrible words. Got him. He turned to flee, but her hand snaked out, digging a single finger into the cluster of nerves in the bend of his elbow. The pain was instant and crippling, turning the next several seconds into a blur. The weight of her body was against his. Somehow his feet were moving under him, but to where he didn't know. Then metal and glass against his cheek. Take the next one, said her voice next to his ear. He's not well. As quickly as the pain had come, it left him, and he collapsed to the floor of the elevator, cradling his arm. Stand up, quickly, we don't have long. The woman reached down, pulling him to his feet with surprising strength. When the elevator chimed their arrival at the second floor, the doors opened into Huang's Asian supermarket, and she pushed out against the wave of shoppers, all trying to enter the elevator at once. Give me your phone, she said quietly, leading them past the bustling cashiers and into the tall aisles of brightly colored packaging. I don't have it. I know you have it. It's how we're tracking you. I can't give it to you. But you will, because if you don't, they will find out I'm Krenz 451. He paused, staring. You? Yes, me. Prove it. When I first contacted you, I directed you to a payphone on Irving Street. In that conversation, I told you there are two types of journalists, the propagandists and the persecuted. How do you feel about your choice, Mr. Hutchison? He couldn't find an answer. It hadn't even felt like a choice as he pored over the thousands of files she'd leaked to him. None of it had made sense at first, and when he'd finally managed to pull a picture of the contribution score from the pages, he'd found sinister artifacts dangling from it, demanding deeper investigation. The curtain had been pulled back, and it couldn't just fall into place again. Looking over his shoulder at the elevator, he took his phone out of his pocket. I thought I'd have more time. The contribution score was just the beginning. You think you're here because you blew the whistle on the contribution score? That earned you trouble, yes, but not this. This is for poking around at the Grindhold Institute, asking questions about cryoglobulinemia like nobody would notice. Notice?